Coming up on today's show, we're going to be taking a look at 4 notable freshmen who have really been turning heads this spring for the Crimson Tide to monitor going into next season. But before we get into that, make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. Our next goal here is to hit that 24,000 subscriber mark. Not sure right now exactly what's going to go on Sunday, but if Alabama basketball makes it to the SEC championship, there's a chance we might go live for that. So do not miss out. Make sure you guys hit that sub button for me right now. All right, first up, we're going to start off here with Jackson Lloyd. We're going to start off, first 2 guys are going to be along the offensive line, so you can kind of guess who they're going to be right now. Jackson Lloyd, though, number 7 offensive tackle coming out of this 2025 class. I believe On3 was a little bit higher than him on the 247 or than the 247 sports rankings were early on anyways, but then as those final recruiting rankings came out, ended up dropping back down, and they're about in the same spot right now. Either way, both sides have him as a top 50 player in that 2025 recruiting cycle. There's a lot of optimism for him. And Courtney Morgan, Alabama's general manager, compared him to former number 1 overall pick in 2008, Jake Long. This is what Courtney Morgan had to say about Jackson Lloyd. He said, I think Jackson Lloyd coming in here can be a guy like that. Jake Long was a guy who was 6'8", 303 pounds as a freshman, who was special by his movement skills. And Jackson Lloyd, very similar in the size and everything like that. 6'7", 310 pounds, according to the Alabama football website. And a lot of people seem to be really impressed with him early on. And many have even wondered if he can start in year 1 for Alabama at one of those tackle spots. And look, right now, I would not rule him out at that right tackle spot because there is going to be a competition there, I believe. Do I think he's going to beat out Wilkin Formby? Probably not. But at the very least right now, he's working with the second team. And, with the amount of versatility that's going on right now, switching guys in and out, just trying to get guys working with different, players beside them. You see Jackson Lloyd right here. I believe that's Jaden Roberts there at that right guard spot. So we'll see, what shakes out there for Jackson Lloyd. Like I said, they're going to be switching guys out a lot during the springtime. My hope is that Wilkin Formby just continues to grow and thrive in his second year now, going in, getting some meaningful playing time. And, look, I know Wilkin Formby's gotten a lot of crap, and I've gotten a lot of crap, talking about Wilkin Formby, but I don't really care. I think that should be everybody's hope, that he's able to go out there and win that job, in year 2, possibly being a starter there. But we have seen plenty of freshmen start here at Alabama. And if Wilkin Formby starts the season like he did last year, especially having a really bad game like that South Florida game, it wouldn't shock me at all if this coaching staff gave Jackson Lloyd an opportunity at that right tackle spot. Then, look, if he's not ready at that point, you go back to Wilkin Formby and you just try to work through things and figure things out. But, look, this is what is so great about being at Alabama. If you're not able to do your job at a consistent level, there's just going to be another dog right behind you waiting to eat. So let me know here in the comments section of today's show, name a freshman that you think will play the most this year for the Crimson Tide. It's the pinned comment of today's video. So if that ad comes here on YouTube, that is totally fine. Get down there and take advantage of it. Let me know, what freshman on this team this year do you think will play the most? All right, the next player, we're sticking on the offensive line here. We're going to go Michael Carroll, number 1 interior offensive lineman across, I believe, every single one of the recruiting websites out there. Number 17 player overall, 5-star out of IMG Academy. This is what before I get to that, Kalen DeBoer, he was asked about Michael Carroll. And he said right now he mainly sees him at that guard spot, but there could possibly be some position flex, down the line for him. maybe to the tackle spot, but they do like him at the guard spot right now, especially because right now as a freshman going through this process early on, you don't want to overload some of those guys. And Ryan Grubb, Alabama's new offensive coordinator, also gave him a lot of love for just how hard he's worked during the fourth quarter program so far for Alabama. LT Overton had this to say about Michael Carroll. He said, I haven't gone up against him, but just watching him on film, he's going to be a hell of a player for sure. His footwork as a freshman, it's crazy being able to see it. He does a lot of work on, or he does have a lot to work on, but this is a whole nother ball game coming out of high school. And when you look at Alabama's offensive line right now, I think, you look at it and you like what you see right there. We talked about the guard spot there. There's going to be a whole lot of movement there. Whether that's going to be Michael Carroll, we're just going to have to see. I think there is still an opportunity there for Michael Carroll, but you got three guys there. You got Cam Dewberry out of the transfer portal, who I think right now is probably in that pole position for that left guard spot, but there are a whole lot of players on this team that could fill in that role, and I think you should be pretty confident that you've got a lot of depth there, and there's going to be just a lot of players pushing each other for that left guard spot. So whether it's Cam Dewberry, Ola Salina, William Sanders, Michael Carroll, you should be very excited for what Alabama has, especially at the interior of the offensive line right now. We'll continue with a couple more guys here in just a second, but want to give a shout out to our friends over at Fanatics. You guys can get up to 50% off on Alabama hoodies right now just by going to chatsports.com/CFB hoodies. That link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. You can also find a little clickable link over there in the corner as well. All right, let's stick on offense here, and we're going to go with a little bit of an underrated player right here as well, relatively on the 247 Sports composite rankings anyways. Lotzeir Brooks, number 184 overall, number 25 wide receiver coming out of high school. But if you remember back when Alabama first started recruiting this kid, he wasn't ranked at all, or if he was extremely low ranked. And, going into his senior season, he just really went off, in the state of New Jersey. 48 receptions, over 1,100 yards for him. He's got a lot of big playability. And at 5'9", 188 pounds, he's going to get those comps, to Devontae Smith, who is taller than him. But, Devontae Smith's 170 pounds. So when I say comps like that, it's really more of, hey, he's a small, fast wide receiver, not necessarily, totally one-to-one there. But he does have a lot of big playability. He's really, really good after the catch as well. I think where he's going to thrive is getting him on a lot of quick slants. Get the ball in his hands and let him cook. Bubble screens as well. Those aren't the only things that he's going to be able to do, but I definitely do think those are going to be the types of situations where Lotzeir Brooks is going to be able to thrive the most. He does have some ability as well to, get some one-on-one balls as well, but being a little bit shorter, he's got some hops to him, but those are going to be a little bit tougher positions for him, I think. This is what Bray Hubbard said about Lotzeir Brooks just the other day. He said, Lotzeir Brooks, he's doing really great. The dude is fast. That sucker, he's hard to keep up with. I will say, I ain't even going to lie, he's hard to keep up with. And I will say this, too, about Bray Hubbard's comment there. He missed an elite opportunity to drop a longest yard reference there and say, he's so fast, he makes not fast people look, or he makes fast people look not fast. I tried to be funny there, and I just totally effed it up. So it is what it is. But my point is, Lotzeir Brooks is extremely fast, and with this Alabama wide receiver room, I think they're going to be one of the top two groups right now going into next season, position group-wise. Look, Lotzeir Brooks, he's been featured, making a few of those nice catches on some of those highlights that the athletic department put out. And Greg McElroy, we talked about it the other day. He said that Alabama might need to go add a wide receiver in the transfer portal. I don't really think you need to go and do that. The expectation is that these starters should be elite. And then you've got a lot of guys in that depth as well. You got Rico Scott, who, has shown a lot of ability so far in his limited roles here with Alabama. You got Cole Adams, was injured most of the second half last season, but he's extremely consistent. He's kind of your, Mr. Utility type of guy. Jaylen Mbakwe's coming over. He was added to the wide receiver room going into next season. And then you've also got Derek Meadows as well, another big body wide receiver. And I think you can really see the difference from the last few years, this wide receiver group, to kind of how Kalen DeBoer and this staff likes to build their wide receiver core. I really do think the wide receiver group and the secondary, those are going to be the two best position groups on this roster going into next season. Obviously, those are the expectations. We'll see how things actually play out, but man, you got to really like what you're looking at right now in Alabama's wide receiver room. So let me know here in the comments section, what position group do you have the most confidence in going into next season? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section for me right now. All right, the last freshman that we're going to talk about today is Dijon Lee, number 14 player overall, another 5-star from that 2025 class, also the number 4 cornerback coming out of that class. I think the most notable thing that we've talked about so far with Dijon Lee is, the length that, we've seen from him in some of those videos, some of the photos coming out of the athletic department. It is really rare that you see a 6'4", 190-pound corner. I think it was Tony Tsoukalas asked Kane Womack, if there was a chance that he might transition to safety, considering his body type there. And Kane Womack was like, we'll see. You never know kind of how the bodies change as, they get into the, strength and conditioning program and stuff. But as of right now, he's just a long-ass corner. And he even compared him to a guy like Zabian Brown in terms of his maturity and his readiness to play as well. He also had Bray Hubbard comment on Dijon Lee as well. He said, that dude is long. He's a great player, man. That's what you want to have out there. A guy like him, super long. He's fast. He's fast for as long as he is. I've never seen a corner that big. I'm honestly speechless on what to say. He's tall, he's long. And then you look at this defensive back room, same thing as the wide receiver group, man. You love what you have at the starters, and I do also think you're also going to love what you have in that depth as well. You've got a lot of versatility. We heard Kane Womack talk about, guys like Zay Mincy as well, working over at that Husky spot, Drake Kirkpatrick over at that Husky spot as well. When it comes to versatility in this defensive back room, I think you got a lot of guys that can play that Husky spot. And then when you talk about the leadership as well aspect of it, Damani Jackson, Keon Sabb, Bray Hubbard, Zabian Brown, sure, he's going into his sophomore season, but got a lot of meaningful reps last season. So, just like the wide receiver group, and these guys going head-to-head in practice is only going to make them a whole lot better. So, I'm very excited what's going to happen. Still don't really know about that Husky spot. I got a lot of confidence there, whether it's going to be Red Morgan, whether it's going to be Deshaun Jones, we're just going to have to see. But like I said, everybody, I think, should be very excited about what Alabama has there going into next season. All right, the last thing on today's show, we talked about Brennan Arrington yesterday. Did not, as of pushing that video out yesterday, have an official visit set up with Alabama, but within 2 hours of that video going out, he ends up setting an official visit with the Crimson Tide. Going to be on campus on June 13th, was also on campus back on Junior Day as well. That's a big, visit for Alabama. Also, he kind of flipped some things around there as well, going to USC. That's going to be a midweek visit on June 17th. Also does have plans to schedule an official visit with Georgia as well. So just wanted to give an update on him because yesterday he did not have an official visit scheduled with Alabama, but today he does.